Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be building up and painting this M1 Abrams tank. This is from the Gale Force 9 game, Tanks the Modern Age. I have no knowledge of this game itself, but I just saw the tank kit and I quite liked it. So I'm just going to check out what it contains. We have 2 plastic sprues, a bunch of cards and the instruction sheet. As you can see, there are 3 different customization options. One for the M1 Abrams, one for the IPM1 Abrams, and one for the M1A1 Abrams. And these are the cards you need should you wish to play the game. And they also come in useful as a painting guide. None of the parts on the sprue are labelled in any way, so you have to recognise them by sight alone. So I snip them off and tidy them up, and then basically start assembling them. And I use Buss-on Tamiya cement for this. And I start by gluing on the underside of the tank to the tracks. And I must say right off the bat, these parts fit together very well. Next goes on the rear, followed by the top. After that goes on the base of the gun barrel at the front. For the machine gunner's hatch on top, I've got 2 options, open or closed. So since I don't have a figure available, I choose the closed option. I inserted the peg underneath the turret so it can rotate on the body, and then that is glued on to the upper part of the turret. At the back of that is a small antenna, which is a little bit of a pain to get into alignment. And then there are 2 machine guns to attach to the top. The smaller one is for the commander, while the larger one goes on the side, as this will be the one most prominently used in combat. And now we come to our first options. There are 2 gun barrels depending on which option you want to choose, and I select the one for the basic tank. And the same goes for this panel. There's a smooth side and a detailed side, and I'm wanting the side with the details on it. My tank knowledge isn't the best, but I believe these things on the side are racks, and they can store additional equipment. And the shorter racks apply to the basic version of the tank, while the alternates extend all the way around the back. Next I add on the side guards, just a matter of lining up the peg holes. And once again there are a couple of options for the rear piece, which is why this is glued on separately. The more modern counterpart is a little bit more complicated. And then attach the opposite side, and this completes the bottom portion of the tank. There are 2 holes at the top of the gun turret at the back. I'm assuming those are for aerials, which don't come with this kit. So using this little hand drill, I made those a little bit bigger and put in my own. So cut the smallest wire I have down to size. Then I just need to neaten up the tip with a small file. And then using a drop of super glue, I glue them into place. These are quite delicate, so I'm going to have to be careful when handling this, especially when it comes to painting, as it's not going to take much effort to break the bond. Unfortunately, one area was slightly longer than the other, so I gingerly cut it down to size. There we go, I did it without breaking anything. And these are the alternate parts, the spare parts, and the accessories. Because I couldn't find any reference pictures for where the fuel cans and storage boxes go, I left them off completely. So here's how the tank looking so far. Now let's slap some paint on it. And I start off by adding the primer. And as you can see, I haven't glued on the turret. This is so I can move it into whatever position I choose. And I also have the option to magnetise it if I choose later. The box art shows the tank in a camo pattern, but on all the reference pictures I found online it was either solid green colour or solid tan colour. So I chose a solid green for mine. And for any large surface areas it's a good idea to give it a couple of coats, and that will give you a nice even coverage. And just to give the tank a little bit of highlight, I brush on a bright green, and this will help to define the edges. Next I paint the tracks in a charcoal colour, and because they're fixed I've got to carefully paint around all the wheels. And I also paint the machine guns and the aerials in black, as these are all additional elements which would have been added after the tank was painted. To help the tank tracks stand out further, I dry brush on some grey, and as you can see the paint has caught on the raised areas, therefore showing off its definition. I repeat the same process on the machine guns, bear in mind it will dry a bit darker. And since it came out so well, I repeated the same process over the whole tank. There's a lot of fine detail sculpted into this vehicle which I don't want to lose, so this is where some black panel liner comes into play, as it will settle into all the recessed areas and give instant shading. And you can see here that it lines all the panels, hence the title. Now I just want to add a little bit of light weathering just to make the tank feel like it's been used. And that's done by applying dirt powder in the lower areas, mainly around the wheels. And to stop that rubbing off, I need to seal it in with a matte sealer. And once again, I'm not gluing the turret to the main body. This way I can rotate it in any direction I choose. And I didn't feel that it was necessary to magnetise it either. Now this model kit was designed to be used for a role-playing game called Tanks: The Modern Age. But for me, I just saw it as a cheap, decent model which I wanted to build up. And despite the lack of detail in the instructions, this kit actually assembles very, very well, as there are no obvious flaws during the assembly process. Once again, the character cards show the slight differences during the different models, and I do like the fact that you can choose which version you want to assemble. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.